heard that this is a class with all different majors. So how many of you are here for engineering background? Engineering, very good. So like, what is your major? Electrical engineering, and must skill for robotics. Anyone here is from the human science? Human science is like arts, literature, languages. No one? Management, business? Of course. You, like, major is?
I'm doing a major in business administration and a minor in finance.
Finance, okay, finance. Very important, as we will learn that a little bit today. I'm not going to teach finance. I'm not finance professor. I don't understand finance very much. I'm from management. More precisely, by the way, my name is Kim, as Chris introduced. I need to tell you that my style is highly active. I hate people being silent in my presence, so I expect a lot of talking from you. I expect a lot of questions, comments. So most common questions I have from your generation is, how do I find a job in Boston? So if that's your common interest, I'll be happy to answer questions. A year ago, we had a school from Greece visit us, and that's the first question I got, and that's the many questions I got is about how do I find jobs, how do I live in Boston, so on and so forth. So granted, Boston is a very attractive place, and it attracted me all the way across the planet. I wasn't born there. As you can see, there's a very small dot on the right-hand side of the map. I was born in Taiwan, raised there. I did my master's in France, that's the middle green spot, and then I find my destiny in the United States of America, aka the land of the brave. If you don't know why, go Google it. I'm not going to tell you. And the hometown of the land of brave is Boston. Boston is, as you know, the oldest city, one of the oldest in the US. Long history. A lot of Europeans come to Boston and say, this is exactly like Europe. But that's it. It's American city with American flavor. And the reason I'm here is because of my research is about technology strategy. So here's my first question to you. What is technology strategy? Take a wild guess. I'm not expecting you to get it right, but your answer will help you prepare the brief that you're going to submit in 7 days. So what is technology strategy? Yes.
Strategy on how to develop certain technologies, a sort of a path to follow.
Yes, exactly. The path from invention to innovation. So I'm sure people like you have crazy ideas, something about electrical engineering. You think this is going to change the world, but without a strategy behind it, this wonderful ideas will only stay in the lab. So if anything that you get to enjoy now, such as the PC in front of you, you have a screen in front of you, right? Who invented the screen? Take a wild guess. The present's yellow, blue, brown, green. Which country invented the screen in front of you? How would I know? But here, since I'm from America, I have to say it's invented by the most powerful country in the world, and we all know the answer. And even though the most powerful country invented the flat panel display, again, the thing in front of you, it has no value. It was invented in the University of Illinois, in a lab. Sitting there, nobody cares. Until the US Air Force say, hey, I think we can put that in the cockpit. That will save a lot of space for the cockpit. Someone say, that's a good idea. Let's put it in the cockpit and let's see how it goes. This is how innovation started. And this is how the displays end up in front of you. So this is technology strategy is a journey from ideas to something that we actually use day in, day out. So that's my research. So I want to hear from you. I know you're here because you take the course. I know you're here because you have to submit the brief. I was a student almost my entire life. I know very well. I know the game too well. But I also know that motivation is very important in any learning. You could be here just, kill 1 hour. But are there better ways for you to spend the hour here? So we can start by answering this question. Why should you care about Boston innovation ecosystem? faster. Yes.
I mean, it does affect us because everything that happens, especially in America, usually ends up here and is the cornerstone of how we do things. So if we see how they do things, we can see to the future. Or, I mean,
Yes, I agree with you 100%. A lot of things happen in the US and have to have a global impact. Do you take COVID vaccine? I hope you did. If you ever take Moderna vaccines, it's from Boston. Moderna is a company based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, just across the Charles River to Boston. It's one of the best known biotech firms in Boston. So this is how Boston innovation affects you. I'll give you more examples, and you'll be surprised to what extent our life is shaped by innovations from Boston. Anything else you can think of from Boston that might change your life here? It doesn't have to be innovation. Anything else?
The robots by Boston Dynamics.
Oh.
Atlas and I don't remember the other guy.
Boston Dynamics, yes. It's a very, very important firm. And do you know who actually owns Boston Dynamics? Yes, very good. So a Korean company owns a Boston-based robotics company, and this company is doing a lot of crazy things for U.S. military. I will try to give you one example. You probably already know, but for those who don't know what is Boston Dynamics, it's definitely one of the major firm in Boston ecosystem, or the cluster. So this is why you want to care about Boston. Besides, this is a great place to go, really. I highly recommend go there during May to September. Any season outside of that is just too wet or too cold. So this is the breakdown of today's agenda, and Christiana told me that it will be 45 minutes followed by 15 minutes Q&A, but since we're going to have a lot of conversation back and forth, so I say let's forget about the Q&A. I want you to ask questions as I go through, and I promise I will release you by 5:30, because you want to go home, I want to go home. We don't have a home to go back to. So let's try to make it as interesting during the time frame. The 4 components I have today is we want to talk about Boston. We can talk about lobster every day, but there is something special about Boston. And after that, I want to move on to talk about robotics. You probably have little idea about robotics. That is fine. That's why you're here. That's why you know you'll be 10 times smarter after today's class. Cluster, I have tried to present this topic to the undergrad students, and this is something you all struggled. So I will take some time, slow down here, try to explain what is cluster. And once you aced the 3 concepts there, boom, we can talk about Boston robotics cluster. So, you know, it's kind of like eating souvlaki. You start with the wrap, then you move on to the meat, you switch to salad, eventually you take everything in one bite. So this is my strategy today. So let's talk about Boston first, fun facts. In America, when I teach, the student always like to start with fun fact. So I learn after them. I start with a fun fact about Boston. We have the first chocolate factory in Boston, in the US. So that's fun facts. And Boston has many, many firsts. Almost all of them has something to do with our history. I remember it's one of the oldest towns in Boston. If you're in Boston, we have a haunted tour that take you to all the places that had famous homicide happen, like where is the most haunted hotel in Boston, stuff like that. If you like it, I can point the direction for you. It's right next to my office. Exciting. Boston is very, very special and unique. It's always ranked the top 3 innovation destination in the country. So in 2002, just 1 quarter, it has attracted $3.3 billion from investors. And this is a number only shy of San Francisco and New York. When you look at the values, it's always San Francisco that is the gorilla in the room. They're just huge. But take them out of the picture, you know, you have other cities that come to the site. And, you know, Boston and New York, they're always vying for, you know, who is best, who is the second. But that said, the economy in New York and in Boston are very, very different. Can anyone please guess? And by the way, you can tell my style now. Every slide will have a question, okay? What is the difference between between New York and Boston in terms of their innovation style? New York is famous for what?
New York basically is a place like that amalgamates a lot of cultures, and Boston, like Cambridge and the area there, has a tradition of like having the best universities in America, for
Yes.
example. So you have a tradition of like innovation, for example. Yeah.
Yes, so Boston is definitely more innovation oriented. However, you all heard of the phrase Wall Street, right? Wall Street banker. Maybe you want to be one of them. Go for you. Good for you. Go for it. Wall Street. So that's it. A lot of innovation in New York is fintech. So Boston does fintech, but really the cluster is down there in New York. New York has always been the center of fashion. So you have a lot of fashion-related technology, consumer technology is based in Boston. So you get the idea. So even globally, Boston ranks very, very high up. So those are the top innovation cities in the world. Of course, we have San Francisco, again, top the charts, but we have Boston coming in the second. So it's nationally, globally, Boston is very competitive. And Boston's technology is famous for its life science. So Moderna is one example. Boston also famous for general technologies, cyber securities, artificial intelligence, and of course, robotics. That is something I want to move on to today. So this is just a number of the ecosystem value. So every year there's a report, just look at how many value that the startups in the system together generate. So you all know startup has a valuation. Right? Based on the revenue, we can guess what's the value of the company. So this report just look at of all the startups in the city, how much value together they have. So Boston again comes to the fourth, very close to the third. Again, you have San Francisco again, just blow away the chart. The other three cities are more neck and neck with each other. If you look at the value, you will say they are same. But if you look at the technology, they do very, very different. So again, Boston's life science, robotics, Los Angeles. What do Los Angeles startups do? What does Los Angeles usually? What do people in Los Angeles do? What Los Angeles is famous for? LA. LA is famous for one thing.
Gambling.
Gambling? That's partially true because they are so close to Las Vegas. Movie studios. Netflix, headquartered in Los Angeles. So you have a lot of online streaming, entertainment like, that kind of a startup that is from Los Angeles. So US is a very big country, so all those cities, they take up what they can do best, and they are all a little bit different. We call it orange and apples. Now you know Boston, we can talk about robotics. So again, the fun fact. The first robot was invented by Leonardo da Vinci in 1464. So 500 years later, we are still trying to come up with a better robot. So we can talk about robotics. This is robotics. Does that fit your imagination? Give or take, about. So this is automobile manufacturing. Can anyone please tell me why automobile manufacturers are the first one to use robots? And until today, they are the sectors that use most robots. Why?
Maybe car industry.
Car industry. So I made a lot of souvlaki. Why souvlaki restaurants don't employ robots?
Most demand, I think.
Demand in what sense?
In quantities.
Quantities, yes.
And
Yes.
it's hard to produce by hand, so
Yes, yes. As you can see here, those chassis are very, very heavy. So we as a human, we cannot lift it. We could do very, very little about it. And most of those robots are doing soldering. Have you ever done any soldering? It hurts your vision, period. It's a terrible work environment. It's highly polluted. It's very, very noisy and dangerous. I was a mechanical engineer, engineering students in my undergrad. So there's one class, we had to work in the factory. You know, as a mechanical engineer, you have to know how to do soldering. I burned myself, period. So I know it's a very dangerous task. So perfect for robots. Robots don't get hurt. What happens if robot gets hurt? Replace it exactly, just fix it or dump it, get a new one. But if you get hurt, it will be a big problem because we are all unique. So that said, I need to tell you the correlation between 3D jobs and our increasing demand for robots. Have you ever heard of 3D jobs? You heard of 3D perhaps, but 3D jobs here is something very unique. Can you give me one example of the kind of job that you would never ever want to do in your life? A job that you would never want to do in your life. Yes. A job you would never want to do.
Me?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Honorable profession. I don't mind doing it. Okay. How about you, your neighbor? Name a job.
Maybe teaching.
Oh, that's my job, my lady. Thank you. Very, very encouraging.
Maintenance on power lines.
Maintaining the power lines, very dangerous. Yes, people lost life doing that.
Military.
Very good course word. Hey, very good point. Very good point. Why don't you want to do the military job?
Well, it has its dangers, first and foremost. And secondly, I don't like the field.
Yeah. Yes, dangerous. And whether we want to fight, it's dangerous.
The underground construction,
Why?
underwater construction.
Very good point, but why?
Because it's dangerous.
It's dangerous,
Yeah.
exactly. So as three of you pointed out, you can guess the first D is dangerous. 3D job stands for dirty, demeaning, dangerous. Let me just repeat so you can make it on your notes. Dirty, demeaning, dangerous. Demeaning is, it hurts your pride. Like being a janitor is demeaning. Not many people want to sign up to be a janitor, right? It's demeaning. Being a housemaid, many people find it demeaning. Make sense? So those are the kind of jobs is there, we don't want to do it. First time when I came to Cyprus, I noticed most of the people I saw on the streets are people like you. But, in my past two visits, I noticed there are more and more African workers on the street of Cyprus. Why is that? Why do we have more and more non-local living here?
They supplement the job markets, basically the jobs that Cypriots don't want to do or don't want to sign up to do. They just take them, yeah. And
So
they feel a gap in the job
Yes.
market, yeah.
Yes, they can't afford to be choosy like you are. You will have a college education. You will have a different path than people who have little choice. So the 3D jobs saying that if we don't want to do it, and if they don't want to do the jobs in the future, the robots will be there to replace it. So you see there's increasing demand for robots. Another reason is driving robotic demand outside of the 3D jobs. It's just because for a very simple thing, in the developed world, we have aging populations. So this is just a Europe map that you see. The darker shade of blue shows this is the area where we have more aging populations. So you can tell the number one country that has the highest aging population is Greece. And then look on the left, you see Germany, France, Portugal, United Kingdom and Spain. They all have a big chunk of aging population. Italy is no exception. Can anyone try to tell me what's the correlation between aging population and robot use? Yes.
Well, in general, as many people don't get put in dangerous jobs, as we said before, mortality rate, then we're also seeing an increasing age population.
Yes, yes. It's just fact. In the developed part of the world, the healthcare is better. When you give people better healthcare, they live longer. Fact. So the thing is, can you expect your grandmoms and grandpops to work like you? Can you imagine they work in a hot kitchen? You know, can you imagine they work in the factories and do 8 hours of work every day? If they do, please introduce me to them. You know, they break the human records in many, many aspects. The thing is, when we get old, granted, in 30 years, I won't be able to stand here. I probably won't be able to stand, to be honest. I probably will be in wheelchairs. That said, I'm not only not working, not productive, I need someone to look after me. And while you busy having your life, none of you will be thinking about, hey, let's look after an old lady in a wheelchair. So I have to count on robots to look after me. So those are the countries that are actually working using robots to find a solution in healthcare. This is not just Europe. Japan has a high aging population. US, many Asia Pacific countries have the same problem. They all turn to robot as a solution. So that's it. For old people, more robots. This is what I want to, as a baseline to tell you about robotics. So automotive, the primary user of robots. You have metals and electronics, they are manufacturing 3D jobs. You don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, robot do it. Others, big chunk is healthcare. The other thing is food and beverages. Kitchen is dangerous. Industrial kitchen, not your mom's kitchen. Your mom's kitchen is always, nice, cushy, full of food. Industrial kitchen can kill you. Many, many people lost their limbs, fingers, whatever, in industrial kitchen. So that's it. And in the US at least, they have trouble hiring people. More and more people say we don't want to do 3D jobs. They rather stay unemployed than do the jobs they don't want to. So we have robots invented to put together a salad bowl. So this is one of the companies I visited with my student and do a case with them. So they have only one function for the robot, is to pick salad ingredients, mix it with dressing, and put it in a box for customers to pick up. What's the benefit to use robot here than human?
Faster, cheaper, basically everything.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, I asked them, I say, because their robot is not cheap. So I say, well, tell me why, they want to use your product. He gave me a very simple reason, the CEO. He said, the robot does not call in sick. So imagine if you're running a restaurant, your staff need to come in today, in the morning they tell you, sorry, I couldn't be there. You, as an owner, you have to figure out who is going to man the salad station. But with robots, they don't call in sick. And this is a big, big factor during COVID, as you can imagine. So robots is definitely in here to say, so that creates a whole robotics industry. And before we talk about it, we need to talk about cluster. And as I mentioned earlier, this could be a little bit difficult for you, so I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So I found this graph from the MIT website, and I feel that, okay, that's pretty much I want to say. So the cluster is where a city, usually always a city, there are different people with different expertise, and their expertise complement each other. And the outcome of the complementarity helps entrepreneurship. I know, very, very abstract, so hear me out. Imagine this is MIT and Harvard, they are the brain on the left. So they have great ideas. They know something maybe can cure cancer, or maybe something that we can ship people to Mars. Great. They have ideas. But as I mentioned before, ideas are just ideas. They will only stay on your hard drive with their ideas. So you need to have entrepreneurs. They are the businessmen with business mind. They say, hey, let's try to find someone to pay for it. Does that make sense? Okay, but while in the process for someone to find a paying customers, They need money to run the operation. Because it's not like, hey, let me just go and find a customer. It's not like buying bananas. So it takes time. You have to perfect your product, you have to perfect your pitch, then you find a customer. So they need to have the capital, the money guy, the venture capitalist to say, I believe your product, I believe your business, I believe your culture and everything. Let me give you money. With money, you will take your time to find your customer. Sounds great. And now let me ask you, why do we need government there? Government is always important, but why do we need it?
Legislature.
In what sense?
Basically, in how you conduct your business, if your business is actually like legal or not. There are a lot of ideas, or even rules on if it's a product or stuff like that.
Okay, that's the government will have the oversight to make sure that the business do what is considered legal. Okay.
Also, government usually help with startups, with entrepreneurs trying to getting a new innovative product out of the market, because firstly it benefits the government itself, because a more developed country attracts more people, attracts more money, attracts more investments, etc., etc., etc.
Yep. It attracts people. What's the benefit when a lot of people flock to a city? To the mayor. Imagine you are the mayor. What's the benefit? You have a lot of bright minds, not refugees. Respect to people in Rafah, but what's the benefit to have a lot of smart people flock to your city?
Well, one of the first things that come to mind is how people can share ideas and like sort of when you get the best ideas from different places and combine them somewhere in a new place, then it helps the second generation or whatever. It helps improve the situation as it is.
Yes, so we have a better life. And then when you have a lot of people come here for better life, they say we want to live in a better house that helps the construction business. They say we want to enjoy better parks. Okay, fine, then we're willing to pay more tax. So to government, that's more tax revenue. The people say we want to have more entertainment. We want to eat better food. So you have the dining industry, you have the hotel industry. You have a lot of people willing to pay for better things. That is consumerism. So the government loves to have a lot of smart people to come to their city. So they are willing to pay more in exchange for better things. And we see all of the city in the US transformed because of this. So government wants the employment, government wants the tax revenue. Corporate is here because, if there are good ideas on the market, I want to be the first one to know. If this is the drugs that's going to kill the cancer, I want to be the first one to invest in it. So corporate play a big role here, and I'll give you examples in a minute. So this is the example of a cluster. So I know it's not clear to you. What you have here is Massachusetts, and Boston is where all the dots are at. So if you look at the entire area of New England, you have more than 100 robotics companies. That's the red dots you see there. The yellow dots are research institutions or universities. So we have the brain, and we have the entrepreneurs, and the money people. They all come together, try to grow the robotics cluster. They benefit. The thing is, everyone in the system benefits. This is not charity. America is a country of capitalism, in case you don't know. But to talk about the clusters, I have to emphasize the role of incubators. Yes, put it on your note. Definitely talk about incubators. What is incubators? Ever heard of one? Does UCY have an incubator?
It's like, I think in this instance it's meant like an accelerator or something.
Accelerator, exactly. So incubator, accelerator, more precisely accelerator is that I'm the startups, and I have great business ideas. I have passionate founders and all that, but we really don't know how to take the business off the ground. People say, go find customers, but yeah, how? People say go find investors. How? Someone please help us. A lot of startups are by young people, meaning that they have passion but no experience. Do you know how to run a company? One day you will, but probably not today. So the incubator accelerator is there to say, don't worry, we will help you. Everything you need, the resources, the contacts, the network. We will give you opportunity to present your work. Everything the startups need, we will be there for you. So in Boston, we have, I don't know how many, also probably, a few dozens of incubator accelerator provide this kind of programs. So the startup can just apply and join, and all those programs are free. And incubators provide this kind of service, but also because they collect a lot of good ideas. That is good for the stakeholders on their network. So in the next, I will give you one example. And you see that the blue bars are percentage of the startups that eventually receive a venture capitalist fundings through an accelerator program. So can you do a startup without accelerator? Yes, you can. But just, if you have the help, why not? This is the incubator I work with back in Boston. So the Mass Robotics, the big logo on top. I first started to work with them just because my student works there, period. So when you're a professor, you try to do something, you start to go to LinkedIn and then look at, where does your student work? And you start to, reach out to them and send them a link. Hey, how's everything? Let's catch up. And whoever get back to me, I follow up. So you will be very useful for your professor. Currently, you're probably useless. But remember, your value increase over time. And I look at my students that I taught 10 years ago. They are very valuable to me now, even though 10 years ago they were peanuts. But so stay in touch with your professors. So I work with Mass Robotics. They are the incubator for robotics companies. Every robotics companies in Boston has some sort of connection with them. So without going into details, I will tell you those are the companies that they help me to arrange a visit or to do the student competition. iRobot and Shark Ninja, we at the Suffolk University do it by ourselves. But anyway, it's on my radar. You probably heard of iRobot? Seriously? Come on, iRobot. You must have heard of it. Do you have a vacuum cleaner that crawls your floor without any guidance? The Roomba, thank you. That is iRobot's 13th product. So they failed the first pulse. So finally they made it in their 13th try. I'm sure you know Shark Ninja. I'm sure you know because I saw their products at Electrolab. So come on, you have to know. A little bit anyway. It's very similar to iRobots. They are both Boston-based companies, and I take my process to them and do fun things. So this is Mass Robotics. They are the platform that collects all the robotics companies, large or small, in the Boston area. And because it's a network, they can help each other. Oh, you have business problem? I can have someone to help you. Oh, you need to find the investors? I can ask, our investor teams to see what they can do to help you. So some is small companies. Some over there was small, but now they're a billion-dollar company. They all started with their relationship with Mass Robotics. And there's one super important point on this slide, is the red box on your right. Can all of you see the word MITRE there? Might. Have you ever thought that why Boston has a robotic cluster? Why not Chicago? Why not Denver? Why not LA? Why not Seattle? Why, of all the places, Boston has a robotic cluster? yeah, like someone said, they have the smart kids from MIT, but I will push you back. There are smart kids from many, many cities around the world. But why Boston? That has something to do with their, remember earlier we talked about the government? This is where government comes back. I think one of you mentioned about, like, you don't, the cameraman, he didn't want to do military because it's dangerous. Who will be the ideal user for the robots? Military. So US military want to be in the know to know what is the latest robotics application. So over here you have MITE. Forgive me, I don't remember the full name. It's a non-profit organization funded by the federal organization. You can just Wikipedia MITE. You will get more information there. So their job is they will closely in touch with mass robotics, and they will try to find out, what's the latest technology in robotics? Maybe we could use that for our military. If so, they will find a company and say, maybe we could do something together. They are the bridge between robotics startup and the military. And routinely they have seminars or presentations by U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, so on and so forth, to hear what startup has to say about their technology. Because it's very common in the robotics, I'm working on this. I'm thinking I'm going to use a robot to serve salad. But maybe for military, hey, this could be a great application on my end. Maybe we can have a different projects. So that is a big reason why Boston is a robotics cluster. Because of MITE and other military facilities. San Francisco, for the same reason, has a very, very strong robotics cluster because of the military research presence there. So government is very, very important. And speak of the military, so this is the first example. So this is Charles River Analytics. This is, they're building, what you have here is not just a boat, it's a drone boat. You know drones, right? Drones, cool. So it's a drone boat. And this is being deployed in Hawaii. So again, startup technology picked up by the military, and now you see that in service. I couldn't find a picture, but I know there's a startup technology, something about drone, and it's being deployed in Bahrain. Bahrain is not even in the US, right? And previously, I think you mentioned about Boston Dynamics. So this is probably the best known products. So you see the yellow thing there. It's a dog called Spot. And before, Boston Dynamics was charged to build a soldier robot. But later on, Boston Dynamics, along with DoD, decided that this is a terrible idea. We should not build a soldier robot. Why?
Azimuth rules.
What kind of rules?
Robot should not bring harm to a human. It should not allow itself to be harmed. And I don't remember the third one.
Ah, very good point there.
There are ethical considerations regarding this. So,
Yes, yeah, I agree. So the whole idea is that only human can decide whether to take life of another human. We should not let robots take life of a human, to take a human's life. So simple as that. So they scale by their progress. So we have these robotic dogs here that they just do reconnaissance. And I read that the soldiers, the foot soldiers, they carry anywhere from 20 to 30 kilo of weight on them, the gears and the weapons. So they say robots can help soldiers to carry their payload. So the soldiers can travel faster and lighter with the help of robots. So robots currently is mostly to assist the military action, but not directly involved. But those are the examples you see how robots can participate in the military operation. And imagine one day, well, with a slight possibility, the green line might be mended by robotics. If I were you, then Peace Corps, that's where I'm going to put my robots. So let me come back here. So we have 9 companies here. Take a wild guess. How many of them receive U.S. military money to develop technology for them? We have not. Out of how many receive money from the military to develop technologies?
All of them.
All of them?
I would
All
say
of them? A lot of you think so? Actually, only 4. Only 4. Like the companies on the Rest Lab, Celsius Autonomy, Shark, to my knowledge, they do not receive money from the military because they say it's pasaria. Too much work. Have you ever dealt with government? So they just say, given the amount of money we're asking, too much work. The companies here, like Vecna and Greenside, they are so good at writing grants. It becomes one of their major source of money. So it depends. Sometimes if you're very good at writing something, you keep doing it. So that becomes your lifeline. Some, if you don't have experience, you just don't. And this company could be tricky because the name is Piaggio Fast Forward, as the name suggests, Piaggio. It's an Italian company. So they probably don't want US military money. Okay, finally we can talk about the role of the corporate here. So this is another company I take my student to, Celsius Autonomy, and their robots is to repack drinks and chips. Do we have a concept of party mix here? Like on major holidays, like maybe on Easter, you will go to the supermarket and you will pick up a big bag. And in that big bag, you have a mix of, say, chips, different kind of snacks, and different kind of drinks. Okay. Maybe not, US concept. So in US, there's a concept called party mix. So imagine that you get a drink of 6, right? They all come in the same thing. Coca-Cola for 6 bottles. But in the US, the customers want to say, how about one have 2 Fanta, 2 Sprite, and 2 Diet Coke? And currently they do this by human. So who will actually pick up different colors of drinks and put it together and pack. It's very, very labor consuming. So the Celsius Autonomy say, we have a solution. We have a robotic solution. We do everything you want, but with robotic arms. The thing here is they actually don't invented the robotic arms. They use the arms from Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi said, we have the arms. Celsius Autonomy just do the software. They write a code so the robotic arms can pick up different objects and put it, assemble the pack together. So if we have the software engineers here, like EEE, you will see the value here. To the big corporates like Mitsubishi, they say, yeah, the more companies use our product, the better. But what's the benefit for Celsius? What's the benefit for Celsius?
Do they have patents and they rent to
They
companies?
probably have, yes. The thing is, for Celsius, I'm just a startup, right? If I have to design the whole robotic arms and sell it to my customers, it will take forever. If I just use something existing, that can accelerate my time to market. So it's win-win for both the startups and the big corporate. So here you get a flavor of Boston Robotics ecosystem. It's all about money. If you want innovation, you stay in the university. Once you join the cluster, we're talking about money. So keep this in mind. Capitalism, money, profit. The end. So here is really all about finding customers. And I told you it's not, if you want to do innovation, stay in university. So this is a West Coast robotics company, but rarely, they publish their finance, so I just use it, whatever. This is their annual expenses. They spend over $20 million in that year. And look at how much they spend on R&D. R&D is research and development. 1.5. That's like a 5% of the total expenditure. They spend most of their money on salary, sales, and expenses. Meaning that their focus is not to research. Their focus is to sell. Remember that. When we talk about companies, it's about sales. If you want to do cool stuff, you stay in a university to do that. Is that clear? Any questions, thoughts? No. By the way, Miso Robotics has a robot that does only one thing, flipping burgers. So burger patties, right? Because I told you industrial kitchen is very dangerous. So the robotic arms pick up the patty, flip, pick up the patty, flip. The whole robot does just one thing. Don't laugh, because fast food restaurants love that. So in my class activities, I organize a panel. The title is called Securing the Paying Customers. And there are a few highlights I want to share with you. And remember, we have a big dollar signs above our head. Everything goes back to the dollar, okay? Every people in that room are not there to say, we care about the future of robotics technology. Nah, we want to know how can we make more money off robots. That's why we're there. We're business school. I'm business school. The big takeaway is, don't worry too much about research and innovation. If you focus on the problems your technology can solve, not focus on technology. As the example I just showed to you with Miso Robotics, the focus is on selling a technology, not working on the technology. They are a billion-dollar company now. I asked them, how do you find your first customer? They said, we just cold calling people. Cold calling people is that you just call someone without prior appointment or acknowledge from the counterparty. So they just cold call, like they think, okay, my robots have a use in warehouse. Let me just start calling FedEx. Let me just start calling UPS and see what will they tell me. This is how they landed their first customers, FedEx. Greenside, pretty much the same thing. They serve the golf courses. But before that, they have no idea who wants to use their technology. They just go out and blanket call all the possible businesses until someone get back to them. We are interested. Let's talk. And remember, they're all billion-dollar companies now. But they start their first customer just by calling people. Finding the first customers is very, very difficult, as you can imagine. But so one of my students asked, if finding someone paying for your service is easy, how about just offer it for free? How many of you feel that giving a free trial is a good idea? Giving a free trial. Depends.
The product, the company. If it's to customer, it's free trial is good. But if you are talking about a big company, sometimes it can be risky because you are offering something for free. It might not be in its optimal condition, etc., etc.
Etc. Yes. How about you?
I would say that most of the case, yes, it's a good option.
Yes. My student asked the question. They say, if you have trouble finding customers, why don't you offer them for free? And get someone in the door first before you talk about revenue, right? They all say, do not offer your product for free. Pretty much like you said. When you offer something for free, they don't take your offer seriously. Does that make sense? They don't take you seriously. To them, the business you're dealing with, they transfer billions of goods every year. They can pay you. What they care about is, are you actually going to help me the way you claim? Are you actually going to help me save money? Are you actually going to address my business problem? If you could do that, charge however much you want. So what they care is a problem solving, not how much the thing costs. So that's a big thing I learned from that panel is, you remember, price is the signal. If you offer for free, people will say, maybe you don't have much confidence in yourself. So remember, when you look for your job, don't underestimate your salary. By the way, did anyone tell you how to ask for the best salary? Your employer will say, what in Cyprus, do they ask you what's your expected salary?
Not usually.
No, okay. In US, they do. My brother, he will hate this. he was just being very honest. He would just say, I'm just a humble Asian. I only need a small money to survive. So he always put a very humble number. And until one day, I say, you do know you can give a range. So the range is the maximum you want to receive, and the minimum is what you could probably, make a living. Give a range. Don't give a number. And as a human beings, the psychology, when we look at the range, we tend to pick some middle values. So you might end up getting more than you hope for. So when people ask you, what's your expected salary, always give a range. Remember that. That's probably the most useful tips you will get out of today's class. But remember, price is a signal. If you tell your employees you want small money, they will think you small. Well, at least in the US, I'm not sure about the Cypriot boss. I heard that they could be mean, so I don't know. So this is the journey that I take with my students. We go to each robotics companies in year 2022 to 23, and of different sizes. We have the rest lab here. They are small. They have gadgets that can help robots. They don't do robots. It's a small thing that can help with the robots. They struggle to find a customer. All the way to the far right, we have Wagner Robotics. They are thinking that they already have some international customers. They are thinking to scale up. They are thinking to go to the European markets and try to get more customers there. Regardless of their journey, from no customer to many, many international customers, the common questions they ask our students to help them with is always, find more customers. Believe it or not. After reviewing this experience out of the 2 years of visit, I have concluded it doesn't matter the products, it could be the seller, it could be the repacking, it could be the drones, or it's a gadget that follow you around. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about technology. They all share the same business problem. How do we find the first customer, second customer, more international customers? So I told you, this is all about money. And I know you are probably conflicted, but why do we always talk about money? So think about it. Let me ask you, as a business, why do you want to care about money?
It's a catalyst. Some people associate money with how much success, and the importance of what you are doing is associated with how much money are you making. You are doing something very good. You're making.
Yes, we look at Jeff Bezos, the founders of Amazon, right? He must be doing something great. Look at the wealth he has. But many people feel that, it's bad. I charge something for my business. But maybe people forget, when you have money, you can grow your business. If you believe what you are doing, if you think this technology is going to help the world, then you should charge people, so you can have a better product that end up benefiting more people. So don't forget about that. On one hand, yes, we are capitalism. We all want to return to our shareholders. But don't forget, the better you do, the more people benefit from your business. And that's why we're talking about that. So I'm painting, another picture of American capitalism. With all this, so I think goes back to your point earlier. When you sell something, it's always about faster, better, cheaper. So I didn't say this. This is a quote from another company I visit. The Chief Product Officer, Campbell, when he presented his business in Innovate, he started the presentation by talking about, we're here to do this because we do it faster, better, cheaper. That's it. So you might assume that we talk about innovation, we're talking about very cool science. That's not the case. A lot of the robots or technologies I have seen in my journey working with robotics companies, they are not difficult science. I'm sure you can come up with those science. What they pour their efforts in is to find a customer, to make sure whatever they offer on the table is competitive with existing offers. So with innovation, remember, everything has to be better. It has to be brighter, lighter, last longer, but the price always comes down. Price always comes down. It doesn't matter, even if you're selling a drug that is going to save cancers, people will still ask you, can you give me a discount? Remember that. So eventually, talking about monetization, how many of you are software CS majors here? Oh, awesome. One, the cameraman. That's it. So I want to end this journey with you in this second to the last slides. I promise I'll finish soon. Is that more and more so, the robotics companies are not selling you robots, not selling you, the physical thing. The physical thing doesn't make money. The physical thing will be a vehicle to collect data, and you want to sell the service based on the data. So as you probably know the concept of sales as service, SaaS. So in robotics world, it's called RAS, robotics as a service. So the thing is, once we have the robot like there, this is robots in the sushi restaurants, conveyor belt sushi. Okay, if you don't know, just Google conveyor belt sushi. So this robot will just bring you the food you order, the napkin, chopsticks, soy sauce, whatever. You can also order foods using the robots. The robots is there to collect user data. And to use the robot is free. But the business will have to pay for the softwares on the interface. So business is into this monthly subscription because the robotics company tell them, if you subscribe to our softwares, we are going to have algorithm that will perfect your inventory management, that will perfect your customer retention and all that, and we're going to have new features, make your customer happier when they dine with you. And so the business end up paying the monthly fees, not for the robot, but for the service the robot provides. So you see the new business model here. We're talking about robots, but very, very few actually make money off the physical thing. So with all that, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more, I have more stories. I took students to those accelerators just 2 weeks ago in Boston. So we had a hell of fun. But I don't have enough time to cover all the fun there, so stay tuned. If you want to reach out to me, this is my LinkedIn. Happy to get connected and answer questions. My final 30-second advice. If you want to connect with anyone on LinkedIn, don't just connect. When you connect, send a small message. Hi, I am so-and-so. It's a pleasure to listen to your talk on Boston Robotics today at UCY. Why this is important? A, there's a lot of scams on LinkedIn. I really don't know, are you a scammer or you're a genuine UCY student? B, remember, you will be valuable in 10 years. In 10 years' time, when you need my service, you go back to my profile, you look at the chat, oh yeah, that's how I met Kim. 10 years ago, right, that's how we established our connection. So put that small memo in the messenger, helps you and helps me. So that's it. Thank you all, have a good night. Pleasure to be here.